Welcome, and thank you for joining this session of Innovation Institute 2021. With nearly 50 sessions available through the summer, we know you'll be discovering new skills, strategies, and resources to transform the teaching and learning in your classroom, and we would love to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to visit the Town Hall in Attendify to connect with the attendees through the activity stream or community features. If you would like a certificate of attendance for attending this session, you will find the request form linked at the end of the session description in Attendify. Thank you, and enjoy this session from one of our amazing Innovation Institute presenters.
All right, we have about a minute to get started, but I'm going to go ahead and welcome. This session is Fresh Ideas for Online Learning, and our presenter is Mr. Lynn Scrogan. I'm going to go ahead and let him take it away.
Hi, thanks. Welcome, everyone. Fresh Ideas for Online Learning. I've been trying to experiment and do as much new and creative with remote learning format as possible. So I wanted to just share some of the most striking and successful activities that I've developed and then try to gather some of yours. Let's just go quickly through this. But first, we're going to create a collection point for all the ideas. I call it my ideas chop shop. And there's in the chat, both on Attendify and then in the chat on Zoom, you will find the links, both the short and the long links, to a place where you can enter some of your ideas. I'm only going to talk about 3 real quick ones. Then we want to go to you. Since I usually do this with breakouts, but that's not been enabled in this Zoom instance. So we're going to just let people chime in with some of their best ideas for successful online learning. So you might want to be thinking about those right now. So at any rate, but if you go in, pull that up on a separate screen, you'll see that I've listed the two of mine, as well as a couple that I've from the last presentation that I conducted on this topic that were really interesting, including one that was on an Easter egg concept that you could build into your online remote instruction. Not necessarily online classes, but any type of blended, any type of remote, any type of Zoom sessions, any type of even short-term stuff, you can build in these different ideas. So that's the notion there. Now, the first thing I want to do is give my first idea, which is the notion of a digital canary. I find that a lot of times there's students that are lost. I can tell, but usually it's too late. By the time you tell, they're either lost or they're mad or they're frustrated or they give up. And so I've developed a technique called digital canary. You know, the old metaphor of putting a canary in a coal mine. So I put these canaries into every blended learning session, every online session, every little thing I do. I hide them in different places, and I do it early on during that experience. If it's in a course, I'll do it in the first week of the course. If it's in a online session, I might do it in the first few minutes. And so what I'm doing is I have little tasks for students to conduct, and if they don't do them, it's like the canary dies. And I can see that. So in other words, I'm hiding these little tripwires, and not to punish the kids, but so that I can help them be successful. Because I want to catch kids right away instead of, let's say I was doing an online blended learning project that was spread out over 3 weeks. If they're having problems with navigation, with understanding, with with technology, with who knows what, I want to catch that in the first day or two, don't I? Rather than have it, something I discover 2 weeks later, and then the kids under all this pressure to produce. So with the digital canary, sometimes like I'll say, make sure you sign up for a discussion group, or I'll say, I'll have made a personal phone call that they have to schedule with me. Something small, takes seconds to do, a little task, a little Google form where they have to type in their name. And if they don't do these things, then I know that they're in trouble. They can't navigate, they can't see the instructions, something's unclear, and I want to catch them early. So I put these digital canaries into blended sessions, or into remote sessions, or into online courses, so I can catch students early. Now, here's how it works. If they miss one of these, I typically put in 3 digital canaries into any experience. If they miss the first one, I'm paying attention, but I don't do anything. If they miss the second one, I'm like a cat ready to strike. If they miss the third one, then I'm going to go in and give them a phone call or a personal text or something. I'm going to talk to them in person to see why they're lost and what's confusing to them. Because a lot of times they're so shy, they don't want to share, some of their struggles. The second technique, so you see that's, by the way, that's in the Chop Shop. I've listed that under Digital Canary with a fuller explanation there. And then now I'm going to move into cold call. Cold calling is something I've done and I believe you can do it at almost any level when you're dealing with remote or online or blended type of environments. Even if it was a 3-week, as I said, 3-week blended project, I could do cold calling. Now I've explained it in the Chop Shop. I got a link that helps explain it there. But let me explain what that is I create a personalized question that I send to students at various intervals. Now I can do it live in a Zoom, just privately on chat. I can do it on a text message in a blended thing over time, over a 3-week blended learning lesson. I can do it with an email. I can do it with a variety of communication techniques. But I ask them a key instructional question focusing on the learning at hand and expect then say they have to answer within so many hours. I usually give 24 hours, but you can do anything like that. But the notion of the cold call is a very successful, learning technique that keeps all students on their heels, so they know that something could come to them through, and I use Remind for mine. Most recently, I have a Remind text that goes out to individual students at various intervals with a really key question, and they need to answer and make sure that they're connected with the learning that we're doing in the classroom. So that's my next one. So that's cold calling. So that's just a little definition there. It's an old technique, but it can be done with tremendous dignity when it's used in an asynchronous format, especially. So these are some examples that I'll do. I make it fun. So I send a picture saying, you've just been cold called. Then I ask them the question and I'm pointing at them. So I try to make it as fun as possible so that it's not just a tedium. The next thing that I try to do is I will try to do the unexpected. Now, with this particular implementation of Zoom that we're using here at this conference, I can't activate my video. So there's a video here, but what happens is here are some leaves, and all of a sudden I pop out of those and give them instructions for the lesson. This is something I did in the fall when the leaves were falling. So my third tip is I always like to do things that are unexpected, totally a surprise, totally that taps into the curiosity of the students. Whether I mix things up or every session's not like the next session, there's 100 ways to do that. But with this one, which I cannot demonstrate here because the video is defunct, then the idea here is that I pop out, and it really makes it fun to come out of the leaves and give them the little explanation instead of just me doing it like a talking head like I am now. See, this is what we call a talking head. All right, now let's go on to our next step. Now it's your turn. Now we can't do breakout rooms because that's not been activated in this instance but we will allow you to turn on your microphone in a second. And what we want you to do is just provide you some norms first. And that is the key norm is make an entry in the Chop Shop. So if you say something, make an entry in the Chop Shop. If you don't want to say because you're so shy, I don't know any teacher that's so shy, but you might be so shy. And so you then go ahead and enter it in the Chop Shop. That would be great. And it's entered in the chat. And you might want to post it in there one more time, Courtney, because anybody come late wouldn't get that link. So we'll get that rolling here. And then the other norm is try to speak in headlines to start. One of the biggest problems when you're doing breakouts or contributions is people tell a long story and then the other people at the end of the line don't ever have a chance to say anything. So try to speak in headlines. Try to make it as brief as possible, and then put your detail into the Chop Shop if you can. Okay. So now, Marcia, you said you agree with the techniques. Do you mean the first 3 techniques, the Digital Canary cold calling, or are you talking about the norms that I'm talking about here? That's an interesting quick chat there comment. So at any rate, and the other norm that I have is avoid Captain Obvious. I hate Captain Obvious. Do something that's really different. You got something that's worked for you that's really cool. That's what we want to hear about. If you just used I used their name in class on a Zoom and it really got their attention. That's kind of obvious that we use names, right? So don't count that one. Don't state the obvious. Let's see if we can get something really unique on our list of ideas. And now let's go to the chip in. I'm gonna put myself on mute for a second and see who's the first brave soul that wants to share their great idea. And please, Courtney, run a clock for me. I'm so up tempo now, I'd lose all track of time. Thanks. Anybody, everybody.
I can talk, I guess. So I teach at the Don Tustin School of Innovation, and my students have an LMS, and we use that LMS to do quick fire challenges. A long time ago, when I taught in a computer lab, it would be the first kid that got the challenge question or the topic that I was asking them to research to the printer. But since I don't have one of those anymore, we use the discussion board. So the first person to save to the discussion board is the challenge winner. And so I do them randomly in school. It could be anything that that we're learning that time. So I teach high school kids. So a lot of times it's research stuff. And so we'll have them do like research a topic, and whoever finds the information first, or whoever has the most creative or unique answer to the topic or the problem, is the winner of the quick fire challenge. So it depends on how we're doing it, but it came off the cooking shows, watching them do that.
Off the cooking shows, how wonderful. Okay, someone else, step to the mic or step to the wiki and put in something into the chop shop that we can all benefit from. Links are appreciated. Like if you say Quizlet, give somebody the link to Quizlet, so on and so forth. All right, so let's see who else can say something. Come on now, I timed this so that everybody had a piece to contribute, because otherwise it'd be done so early. I see there's some activity going on right now on the chop shop. That's with all the shy people who don't want to say anything right now, but that's all right. We got some activities being entered at least. Okay. Anybody else has a great idea? Maybe I scared you when I said avoid Captain Obvious. Well, you might think it's obvious to you, but other people might not think it's obvious. So throw those out there. Okay, someone said, let's see, Marcia said, as a high school teacher, she likes to take a stand. Is that what to take a stand? Where QA is move around the room to their answers? I don't quite understand. You got to explain it to us. So can you get online and at least with your voice and tell us what you think or how that works? Sounds good. While we're waiting for someone to come on and get brave and say something, I want to mention that on the Chop Shop, they're listed some of those Easter egg ideas. The Easter egg is sort of like the opposite of a digital canary. Digital canary is designed to identify struggling students ahead of time without any loss of dignity. It's just a quick way I can dipstick and tell who's struggling and who's lost and who can't navigate or who can't isn't familiar with the editing commands or who doesn't know the LMS? And they're just lost. So that's one thing. But the Easter egg is where you hide a surprise. It comes from gamification concepts, but you hide a surprise in the course, and the students get rewards if they can find them throughout your stuff. Okay, so I understand your audio is not working, Marcia. Could you explain that a little bit about the could you explain that by typing in something on text so we could all benefit from that, and then later add it to the Chop Shop? What do you mean where question and answer is moved around the room to their answers? I don't quite get that. Okay, so you have a group of questions. They can be easy or they can be really challenging, right? Oh, answers are polarized. So that's what you mean by charge, not challenging. Yes, no, maybe line. Now, did you know you can do something like that with Zoom? Did you know that, Marcia? Here's how it is. Anybody else want to know about that? Here's a little trick. See, now everybody has to do it themselves, because if I do it as a teacher, the students don't see it. But Zoom now, when you've got a whole class on your screen in the little windows in the gallery mode, I can actually move people from left side, right side, that sort of thing. And so when somebody makes a statement, I could, that's on the one side of an argument and the other one that's more on the charge side of an argument, I can move them to different sides of the screen. Now, I used to do that in the face-to-face classroom. Did I forget what that looked like? Oh yeah, no, the face-to-face classroom. I would have them move to sides of the room, stand in the middle, do all those kinds of things like you described, right? And so I could do that by actually moving their picture. And if you ask each student as they make a point, if they stand in this position, have them move that picture to the left. Anybody who has an opposite opinion, have them move that picture to the right. And I can create a facsimile of what I've done in the classroom like that. And then, yes, Michelle, I've done some similar things with breakout rooms too, but I like the physical. It's like creating a visual manipulative, a visual graphic organizer of opinion by moving, because you can now move the pictures anywhere on the screen, but only the mover can see it. So that's another little creative tip that I've used. So it really, you probably would want to practice with a smaller group and like 10 or so before you did it with a group of 30, but it's possible to do that. I've done it before. So, okay, anybody else on the text, on the chat, on the Chop Shop, anywhere you want, with your voice, with your screen? We've got a little while left. Anybody have cool ideas they could share with us that have really been successful for you during this COVIDian era? I'm looking over right now the Chop Shop to see if more folks have added a few things, but I don't have just a little bit. And I don't see any more contributions in chat. Courtney, let's pick on you since you're the only one visible.
Yes.
Hey, what do you do that's really creative these years?
Oh, we have done, I'm actually not in the classroom, so that's, but what we have done is one thing, or I'll share this. I just saw this kind of thing and it kind of reminded me what you were talking about, but it was called a virtual tug of war. I follow Esther Park, and she has some really cool resources that I thought would be really neat. But she actually has like a template if you ever want to follow her on Instagram. She does some really neat things.
And can you put us a link to that?
I will.
technique?
I was actually going to put it in the Chop Shop. I've got a lot going on.
Yeah, just put it in the Chop Shop so everybody can benefit.
I'll do
The
that.
only other person with a picture on that I see there is Laura. Hi, Laura. Did you ever have a cold call? You just been cold called. Can you tell us something important, a great idea, something you've done creative or encouraged others to do if you're not in the classroom? Laura, are you brave enough, Laura? Usually I don't do cold calls live, but I do them anonymous, or so the rest of the class can't see them, but here we are with a quiet group.
I'm sorry. I'm just in and out of the rooms troubleshooting, and I understand I got cold called. Can you repeat?
Yep, you did. Do anything creative with online learning or blended learning or remote learning these days during
Well,
the Rona?
Well, we do use Schoology for our LMS here in Springdale. And so it's really encouraged me to create more self-paced courses for people to use.
Ah.
So that's probably the
Are they
one thing I
little
still
model,
sometimes-
are they little small learning object kinds of things, or are they full courses really?
They're probably, no, they're just little small projects. Like it,
Yes,
this might take you a couple hours to finish.
got it. So you like to chunk that online learning instead of have it being monolithic.
Yes.
Excellent. There's a great strategy right there. Just come up with a whole set of those, what we call, well, you can make them different sizes. You could make them for the size of a 20-minute activity or a two-day activity like you're describing there.
Yes, sir.
So
Marion
great.
Hendrickson on the Attendify, she asked if anyone's ever tried Dollar Street. I'm not really sure, but she put a link as well.
Okay, is that in the chop shop?
No, it's
Marion?
actually on Attendify.
Okay, I'm going to post it into the other one. What does it do?
So I'm a social studies teacher. So at Dollar Street, usually it's like a geography thing. A lot of AP Human teachers use it, but I've used it. I taught 7th grade too, and I've used it with my middle school kids, and they had a great time with it. It puts all of the entire world on a neighborhood street. And then you can go through, and the kids have a great time because you can go through their toilets, you can go through their bedrooms, you can go through their toys. If you go look at it, there's a whole bunch of stuff. It's Gapminder, so it's taking a lot of data, and these people volunteer to do it. But it's really, really cool. They have the greatest stuff with it. They always think it's fun to play with. But there's assignments out there that you can find for it. If you want to do an assignment, my geography class and I went through it. We picked all the kids from a certain region of the world and went through their toys or went through their pets. And that way, when we did geography, they would interact with the website as much as they would me and each other, because they had a great time laughing at sometimes the pets, like there was guinea pigs or, whatever happened to be on there. So that's whatever.
Now that's another cool concept. Boy, you guys got a lot of great ideas and you're just too shy. I'm going to give you one more before we end up here. Maybe that'll spark someone else into contributing. Thank you very much, Marion. Here's another one that I've done. I'm putting it into the chat. I've just started using this recently. I do it for one session only. I do it for a remote session where all students are gathering. And you can do this at various grade levels. But you imagine a website that lets you look in out of a window somewhere in the world. And every time you press click, you see you're looking out a different window somewhere in the world. And we use it for a SEL, social emotional learning moment, to say, how do you feel? What sense do you get from that community as you're looking there? And it takes you from Moscow to Turkey to China to Ecuador to, all that. And so it's just an amazing place that I've used at the very beginning while students are gathering, but prior to the Zoom instructional moments. And it's called Window Swap. And if you'll take a look at that is an amazing tool. There's so many. I could use it for vocabulary, what you see out the window. I could use it for story starters. Tell us a quick story about what you see out this window. And once again, every time I click on it, I get a different window in the world. Okay, it's just amazing. Take a peek at that. You like that one, anybody? Now let's see here. I see we have another contribution from Alejandra. website was shared from me at another with SEL ideas. And so it's filled with a variety of SEL ideas. Thank you so much, Alejandra. So that's really neat. Anyway, we're coming to an end. So we've only got about 4 minutes or less. So this is your time to text in, shop in, or voice in, or video in. Please say something. Tell us something. Give us a resource. Add to our list. By the way, I'm right now looking out a window in Portland, Oregon, when I'm using that chop shop. And now I've switched to Tuscany, Italy. That's down. You can't see it, but if you go to those links, you'll see what I'm talking about. My next one takes me to Rosh, Iran. Check out the window of home in Iran. Wow. Okay, Courtney, take it away.
All right. Thank you all for attending this session. Don't forget to, I'm trying to get our code up. Oh, let me get to
I
it.
stopped my share so you can get it up.
I wasn't ready.
I'm sorry.
That's
I know
okay.
I did it early, but
I was trying
everybody's shy.
I know, I was trying to put some things in the chop shop. Let me get to it, back to it.
Yeah, everybody can contribute to the chop shop.
Yeah.
On into
Did you
the
see
near
this
future
one
here.
idea, the SEL, that someone else posted that was a lot like, who
Yeah,
posted
I'll post that in there right now.
Alejandra Guzman also posted another website.
Yeah, I'm going to post that in there right now. Thank you, Alejandra.
Okay. Let me get. Well, there we go.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. She did it. She's ahead of me. I just didn't scroll down. The curse of the 21st century here is not scrolling. Yeah, we got a bunch down there. There's Alessandra really contributed a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all for attending, and don't forget to go to your next session.
Thank you for joining this session. To request a certificate of attendance, you can access the link at the bottom of the session description, scan the QR code here, or go to bit.ly/I2 certificate. Bit.ly shorteners are case sensitive, so please be sure to use all uppercase letters. Hear what insight other I2 attendees and presenters might have on this session and other breakout sessions by connecting with the Innovation Institute community on Facebook or Twitter at I2 Estale or in Attendify's interactive features. And don't forget to mark your calendar for June 8th and 9th to join us for I2 2022. Thank you.